Rise of the planet.
Rise of the kingdom of the dawn of
The kingdom of the dawn of the war of monkey.
Rise of the war monkey. Kingdom.
Kingdom of the rise of the war monkey.
I like how I have not been speaking into the mic, so it just sounds like you're incoherently rambling.
Well, would it sound more coherent if we were both rambling at the same time?
Probably not. Kingdom of the war of the dawn of the monkeys of the war
Of the apes.
of the apes. Yeah, not monkeys actually.
No tail.
Apes.
No tail.
No tail. But this is a tale of of kings and of wars and of apes and of whatever.
I wish this was a tale of apes, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not far off. This is Old English. They were like Neanderthals, so what, like 200 years ago or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some around today, actually. You look hard enough, you will find them.
I mean, that's true. Like, aren't like white people?
Yeah.
Like the most.
I
connected
had
to
a
Neanderthal?
disappointing realization though.
Yeah.
Apparently, let's say you take a DNA test and it
Okay.
says you're like 99% Neanderthal.
Okay.
It doesn't actually mean like in terms of your genome,
No.
you
what does
like
that
lack
mean?
the human genome. It's it just means that compared to the DNA samples of everyone else who has submitted to like 23andMe,
you're more Neanderthal.
you're more Neanderthal than 99% of the people.
Oh, that sucks. Because then that means
It
nothing.
means nothing at all. It means
Nothing
you're
at
like
all.
still like 0.05% or something.
That sucks dick.
Yeah,
I
it's
want to
really
imagine
terrible.
there's like
Now-
the Cro-Magnon man.
A friend sent me a photo of a guy
Okay.
who one of their friends matched with on the Hinge or something. And
Okay.
his thing was that in his Hinge profile, he said, yeah, I'm like 98% Neanderthal.
Yeah, and he looked.
But you look at the picture, he actually looks
Yeah.
so much like a Neanderthal.
Whoa.
He has like the supraorbital crest. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He has all the features. He has the broad nose.
What are the odds this
Short
guy was
stature.
like frozen in ice and like awoke in the modern day? And now he's just on Hinge.
Yeah,
I think that's what I did.
that could happen.
Yeah.
You go straight to Hinge. I don't know why Captain America didn't try out Hinge.
Yeah, try
before.
out Hinge. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He
Giving up, right?
gave up. He goes back in time and then hooks up with Peggy Carter.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Dumb.
I wouldn't do it. I just
Think about how
rewatched
hot
Endgame.
people are now.
That's the thing. People were not looking good in the 50s.
No, not as
or
good.
wherever Captain America's
Not
from.
as good.
Segregation, you
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I feel like that impacts it somehow.
Yeah, right.
You weren't seeing all the people you could be seeing. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. The races weren't competing amongst each
Exactly.
other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was less competition. You know.
There was.
And I think competition it drives everything. It's
It does.
beautiful.
Yeah. That's what I love about a multicultural society.
Hot women. And this is a story about hot women and competition. And
That's right.
We're doing Beowulf. We're doing Beowulf today.
That's right. And we're not doing Beowulf. But
Well, yeah,
perhaps we'd
leave
like
that
to.
for one of the hot ladies. But yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to do Beowulf? Most of the
Uh-huh.
characters in this want to do Beowulf.
They do. Got that shredded animated six pack.
Yeah,
Doesn't get better than that.
doesn't get better than that.
We're just two buddies discussing fantasy. Oh God, it's Sorta Sorcery. I don't know.
Welcome to Sorta Sorcery, the #1 podcast among the Speardanes and the
That's right.
Geats.
We got
you
some
know those
geeks on
guys.
this podcast.
Yeah, we're some Geats. We're some
Uh-huh.
Geats. We're geek.
Yeah, can we
geeks
call our
geeks. Yeah.
fan base the
The Spear Geats.
the Spear Geats?
Yeah. The Spear Geets. The
The
Shield
Spear
Danes.
Geeks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's you guys. Yeah. Welcome to Sorta Sorcery. Beowulf. It's a cool one.
It's an interesting one for sure.
it's an interesting
This is
one.
the 2007 one for those who watched accidentally the one that takes place in Inner Mongolia,
Yeah.
China.
The 2018 Beowulf, which strange.
Yeah.
I yeah.
Or
I
those
don't
of you
know.
who watched Grendel and Beowulf.
Grendel and Beowulf, or those time travelers who watched the Grendel movie that
Yeah.
comes out in like a year.
It's happening
something.
soon.
Which maybe we'll talk about. We haven't even seen a trailer. It could just not even be involved with this at
Yeah,
all.
that's true.
Uh,
Maybe it's not real.
maybe it's not real. Yeah, maybe it's not going to happen. You never know with time and the passage of time.
Anything
Uh,
can happen, really.
Anything can happen. Which maybe that's the theme of this movie. Who knows?
Yeah.
So we start off as any old English poem would want to be started. Electric guitar riff over like whatever Universal or like Paramount or whoever is the production
Yeah.
company that made this. And it started and like we looked at each other And we both like, electric guitar? Is that
Yeah,
how
is
this
that really
is?
what we're going for? Is that how this movie's gonna be?
Then it translates, like, not translates, like segues into like this, like Old English chant. And then, or even not really Old English, just this like non-specific.
Yeah, right. It could be
just
a
guys
language.
grunting.
Yeah,
like,
right.
"Huh, hey, huh, huh, huh." Yeah, it could be like
Yeah.
cavemen. I don't know. But yeah, it was that, and it's cool. It's cool. We're in this like tavern.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's
hall,
me in the
mead
mead
hall.
hall. I'm chanting always. I stay
of course.
chanting in the mead hall.
Because you got the meat in you. You got the
Yeah.
meat in your blood.
Mead's overtaken me.
And yeah, Will alluded to this. It is like a CGI animated film, and when you first see the people,
Yeah.
there is like a very real sense of like uncanny valley.
Yeah.
Because like this is like around the time when like we're starting to perfect, not even really perfect, but like learn how to animate people with CGI.
Yeah, we're doing this is a weird style of animation because it's mocap.
Oh.
So
yeah, I mean,
know,
that makes
you got
sense,
people
I
in
guess.
suits with the balls.
Yeah.
And I have
people in suits with
the
balls.
balls. You do have some of those.
Yeah,
You do
yeah,
have some
it's
of
true.
those. They got balls on their balls as well. We get the full HD of it all.
Yeah. It's
No,
a very
but
horny movie.
three words for you. A fellow Robert Zemeckis film inspired this one. I don't know if it didn't come to mind when we were watching it.
Wait, Polar Express?
The Polar Express.
Yeah. I forgot that was him.
That's him.
And he was also Christmas Carol, wasn't he? Did he make like the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol?
That could be true. That really could be true.
Yeah, I'm gonna check on that.
And it is using the same techniques as Polar Express. So anyone who's seen Polar Express, the weird vibe of the people, what they look like, how they move.
Yeah.
It uses more cameras than Polar Express. It uses like hundreds more cameras.
CGI Christmas Carol, Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah. See,
This
there
guy
you go.
loves CGI.
He loves like the weird mocap CGI shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Spooky.
It works sometimes. It does.
Yeah.
Well, because they wanted to go for realism. There's a quote about, it's like, oh, well, what we really wanted to do was make it realistic. But then
it's like, why is it not just like
real?
Yeah.
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 Well, there are these other random shots where things happen that could not happen in the real world.
That's
people
true.
getting ragdolled, like
people
thrown.
getting ragdolled, like strange camera movements that you really couldn't replicate. It feels like.
Yeah, because you had the 300 cameras, right, that are like filming the mocap stuff to do the animation. What the results of that is when it's edited together is like a virtual camera that you can move like basically anywhere.
Like 360.
So you can get some weirdo shots.
Yeah, and there's some weirdo shots. Because we start like with it's like a punch zoom on like Hrothgar. He goes like, I want mead. He's our king. He's like this kind of gluttonous guy. He's pretty cool. Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Maybe not pretty cool because he is like weird and like adulterous on his wife.
Yeah.
Wealthgow, who is just not happy with this man at all.
No, maybe he's done something. I don't know.
Maybe he's done something. He tries to like drag Wealthgow to bed. And she spits on him, and he's like, "Oh yes, more of that."
I love that shit.
I love that shit. And everyone in the hall is just watching and laughing because it's England.
Yeah, what are you gonna
People are
do?
weird.
You know,
even modern day English people
just like that today.
odd, strange, just not quite like us.
A little different.
And another guy's also a little different. Unferth is like the royal advisor, and he's different in that he's like explaining Christianity to like this guy. He's like, well, the thing is,
the thing about Jesus
is you just gotta forget,
let him into your heart.
Let him into your heart. He'll absolve your sins and all that. And like this old English like Viking guy just like looking at him, or like Denmark Viking guy just looking at him like, okay, whatever that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, who cares?
It's a funny bit. It's a funny 6th century bit.
You try to spread Christianity, you fail.
So yeah, Unferth gets formally introduced by Hrothgar. He's like, oh, my wisest advisor, the violator of virgins, bravest in battle.
Lovely guy.
Cool guy.
I believe everything but the last.
Yeah,
I believe
he's violating
brave.
virgins. I don't believe he's brave for a second.
No.
Because, maybe something happens to...
Well, he seems like a slimy vizier from the get.
And yeah, like the second he pulls up, when you hear someone's like the wisest advisor, you're like, oh, okay, he's probably going to kill the king at some point.
Yeah, right. Clearly he's up to some duplicitous stuff.
And that doesn't, quite happen, but he does fail royally because, like, the people are all like chanting they're having a fun, rowdy time, but over in a cave out yonder, there's this like troll guy whose like eardrums are getting beaten by like the sounds of the merrymaking. So
and he's screaming. He makes horrible noises.
He makes horrible noises. He looks like Gollum, but like big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny about that? It's funny you mentioned that. They actually use like the same kind of mocap, non-human mocap tech that was used for Gollum.
I mean, that makes sense because like the way he moves around and stuff.
It's very Gollum-esque.
It's Gollum-esque. So yeah, he Gollums into the hall. The lights go out. Everyone's like freaking out. Like, oh, what's going on?
Whoa.
He just starts like carnage, swinging around, just killing.
I mean, what a party foul.
Yeah, I wrote down just gratuitous carnage because it's kind of insane. It's like a Mortal Kombat cutscene.
People are just dying in horrific ways.
Yeah, the king, brave king, squares up with Grendel, and Grendel like freaks out and dips.
Yeah, doesn't want to fight the king, I guess.
Doesn't want to fight the king.
Must be.
Yeah, so like the hall is just wrecked and ruined. A bunch of people are dead. Everyone's like, oh, what the fuck? What are we gonna do?
Right after they christen the hall.
Right after they christen the hall. Sad. You can't have a good meat hall anymore.
No, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. There's always some freak troll that's gonna come out of the ether. And
that just happened to us last night.
It did.
Pretty crazy.
There we were in a similar meat hall.
Yeah, we were the two survivors.
Chanting away.
Yeah, and now we're podcasting. That's how dedicated we are to this. So yeah, Grendel gets back to the cave, and he's like speaking Old English. He's like, "Oh, me arms is that's what that's what Old English sounds like.
Hope you guys like that.
Yeah, and there's this like octopus tentacle that comes out and like soothes his
freaky stuff.
His cheek, and it's caressing him. It's weird. And he goes to sleep, and then like we cut back to the meat hall. The advisor is asking like, "Oh, should we sacrifice? Like, sure, we're gonna sacrifice like our Viking gods, but like, should we also sacrifice to Jesus?
Yeah, maybe
this
maybe
new
Jesus
Roman
can
god,
help us
Christ?
fight this demon monster."
Hrothgar says, "We don't need fucking Jesus.
No.
We need a hero.
Need a hero."
Yeah, Bonnie Tyler style.
Uh-huh.
We need a hero. Is that Bonnie Tyler? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So hard cut to Beowulf. As
could only be our hero.
Could only be our hero. Yeah. As the title would suggest. He's lost at sea. There's like raging torrents coming on. But Beowulf, he's chilling. He knows where he's gonna go. They arrive on they arrive in Denmark, and like there's this like city watch guard guy, which is like it's a funny scene because like you're a guard and you're patrolling the beach. That like the biggest problem that you have is this like demon guy, but you're just still on duty during the day. Just like
I'll take that. You know what I mean?
It's the good gig.
If I'm not in the meat hall when the shit goes down,
it's an amazing gig until a bunch of like armed men show up on the beach.
It's like fuck.
And it's like, well, okay, shit. And it's like this is funny because this is a scene pretty much exactly taken from the poem, where like the guard is like, okay, I can't just let you in. Like you have to explain who you are.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing here?
So it serves like both like kind of a funny scene and also like character introduction. Beowulf says his whole deal. He's one of the Geats. He's like a brave warrior, and he's come for glory. Like the guard asks, like, "Oh, I thought there was no one like left who was foolish enough to die for our gold." Beowulf goes, "If I die, it'll be for glory, not for gold." He's on some cool
pretty rad.
Brad Pitt Achilles type shit.
Pretty rad stuff.
Yeah. So whatever, they make their introductions. Apparently, Beowulf and this king Hrothgar go way back because Hrothgar like saved Beowulf's dad at some point, like Earthgow or like some insane Old English name. And so yeah, like they're butting up, and the queen Wealthgow pulls up, and she's like, "Oh, many have tried to win my husband's gold." She's like,
"Win his gold."
Yeah. I wrote down the queen warns Beowulf parentheses sensually.
Yeah, there's already just way too much tension going on between these two.
Yeah.
Could only end one way.
Gotta
take the man's wife. Gotta do it.
Immediately we're thinking, oh, how is Beowulf going to end up with this guy's wife?
Yeah, right.
And maybe that happens. But yeah, so basically their plan that they form is to like throw a big party, throw a rager, and that will attract Beowulf, and that'll attract Grendel, and he'll like,
just kill him.
Yeah,
simple.
Beowulf will kill him.
Easy.
One guy, he's a naysayer to this plan, Unferth, our wise advisor.
God damn it, Unferth.
He's like, how could you beat Grendel? You lost at a swimming competition.
To Brecca.
Which, like, I don't know. It feels...
Yeah, just a false equivalency, right?
Yeah,
what does
right?
swimming
You're
have
bad
to
at
do
swimming.
with killing
I
a
think
monster?
the idea is that, like,
he's just a fraud, generally.
Yeah, you're a fraud. You're, like, haughty. You have, like, lust for glory, but you can't actually back it up.
Yeah, you're just all talk.
You're all talk, exactly. But then, how does Beowulf respond to that? But talking and saying that, well, actually, I didn't lose at the swimming competition, really. Sure, I might have, like, lost, in the
lesser
of the race.
Yeah, the lesser
but
race.
actually, as we were swimming for 5 days, we were so evenly matched. But then, like, a group of, like, sea monsters came up. I had to fight them.
Yeah, only attacked me.
For whatever
reason.
I was cutting him down. And, like, as he's saying this, we're getting, like, a play-by-play of, like, a flashback what happened during that. And he goes, yeah, I killed these swamp guys, or these monster guys, and then I went down to the bottom of the ocean, killed some more guys. But then, like, what we see is him, like, hooking up with a mermaid, I guess.
Yeah, awesome.
So I guess we're led to believe that, like, he is lying to the group about the very end of it.
Yeah.
And he actually, like, had sex with a mermaid.
Well, yeah, I mean, that establishes some very important things about his taste.
Yeah, he likes water demons. Yeah.
He likes non-human
Which,
women.
like, hey, fair, very fair.
Real for that. He also lies on occasion.
Yeah, so yeah, we get to know a lot about Beowulf from that little exchange. What may seem like just an offhanded swimming dick measuring contest.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's one of those random swimming contest stories that we often tell.
So yeah, like, tells off on Firth. He's like, "Oh, you fucking idiot! You were wrong about the swimming thing. You killed your brothers. You're a
by
coward.
the way, you're a kinslayer.
You're a
buddy.
kinslayer. Yeah, which is like a real burn.
Yeah.
For 6th
Well, it
century.
was really like a multi-level burn because he was like, "Yeah, I heard that you killed your brothers because they had knowledge of your mom."
Yeah.
I was like, "Damn!"
Yeah. Everybody in the hall is like, "Whoa,
shit!"
This was the original, Kendrick Drake beef.
Yeah.
And like. Then he basically goes on like, well, if you weren't a bitch, then like Grendel wouldn't feel comfortable just like breaking into the hall and killing everybody. If you were as like strong as you say you are, this wouldn't be happening. Which fair.
Real.
This is another scene that's like pretty 1-to-1 taken from the poem. It's at this point it's a pretty solid adaptation. I mean, Beowulf didn't fuck a
mermaid or whatever. Well, apparently, Unferth also wasn't like Christian.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is pretty Christian in the poem. Like, it's all, like, which is a thing we can talk about with, like, the history of this poem. But, like, Unferth is not specifically Christian because he doesn't really have to specifically be Christian because everyone's just generally kind of Christian-esque. Like, everyone's always evoking, like, the Lord Almighty and all that. But that is a point of, like, interpolation that we can talk about. Because, like, I'll just say this now. This poem is mostly survives through like recordings of like monks and stuff, like Christian monks who were like writing down the poem for like records and stuff like that. So like maybe some guy like changed some references from like gods to like God.
Odin.
Yeah, right. Who knows? But this movie, that's a good point to bring up. Like there's a whole kind of running gag about like the old gods of like Norse mythology being contrasted with like Jesus and like this new Roman god. It's interesting. And then that gets paid off later.
We'll see. Maybe JC will return and
maybe JC comes back in a big way as he's wont to do.
Always coming back.
So there's rowdy merrymaking and fun had by all. But then he's not having fun. Yeah. Grendel, because he hears this party and he rocks in, and actually but before that a strange conversation happens between Hrothgar and Beowulf when Hrothgar's like showing off his horn.
Mm.
And
It's like, yeah, you like this horn? You kill Grendel, I'll give you the horn.
I'll give you the horn. And as he's saying this, he's like looking right at Wealthgow, which like the implication there is like, kill Grendel and maybe you get a shot at my wife.
Which is awesome. Yeah, it's just you love a legal way,
Yeah,
a legally sanctioned way to get at a man's wife.
just an indecent proposal. Yeah, and like the Geats, like Beowulf's men, are all like flirting and carousing with the women, like the Danish women. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
whatever.
We love some carousers.
And yeah, like, Wealthgow and Hrothgar leave, and it's just like the Geats left, and they're all like drunk and falling over each other. And then they hear some banging on the door. Who could that be? It's Grendel.
Back again.
Back again.
Much like Christ, he is back.
Much like Christ, Grendel has returned. Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. He's the son of, some higher being.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. A non-human.
A non-human. Very Jesus-esque. Yeah. He's a demigod of sorts. But yeah, like, he rocks in, killing people and stuff. Beowulf, he swings in, starts fighting him, and he realizes that like Grendel is weak to sound.
Yeah.
So he starts like screaming at him and like banging on stuff.
Yeah.
Punches his
That's what I
ears.
do as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to go for where they're weak.
And like Grendel, he's like trying to fight, but he can't do it. Beowulf at this point is like stripped down naked entirely. It's
You
like,
got to
get
fight
on
mano a
Grendel's
mano.
level. Yeah, exactly. Which is silly and funny, and from the poem also.
Yeah.
Just stripping down. I guess that's what you do
That's
when
what
you're
you
fighting
do.
demons.
That's how you make it even.
That's how you make it even. So yeah, he's naked fighting. They're wrestling the grappling around. And at some point, Grendel starts like shrinking. I guess.
Yeah. Once he starts getting injured, he starts like
Yeah.
becoming sad and pitiable.
Yeah. Which is like, I don't know, kind of sad. I don't know. He looks like a little, like pitiable, like gremlin guy.
Yeah. A real Gollum-esque
Yeah, it's very Gollum-esque.
figure.
But yeah, so at some point through like strange contraptions and like he traps Grendel with like a chain by his arm, and then like he like rips his arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grendel loses an arm, sadly.
And everyone's
Sad
like,
to say.
"Oh, his arm's gone. He's dead." I guess.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, they have the arm. Grendel runs off back to the cave. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's dead. That's awesome." The king seems, kind of out of sorts about it, but what could that be about? And at this point, do we know that like Grendel is the king's son?
I feel like kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's heavily implied.
Well, she also says something to Beowulf directly.
Mhm.
The queen does before, like the night before Grendel attacks. Blah blah blah. Like, oh yeah, he has no other sons.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like no other sons. I thought he had no sons.
Yeah, right. And Beowulf doesn't put that together.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at this point, Wealthgow's put it together because she's not sleeping with him because he slept with something Grendel's mom.
Something else.
Something
nasty.
Something nasty. And then they did the nasty, created Grendel. And Grendel, he runs back to the cave. He's sad. He's whimpering. And he's like, "Oh, this man Beowulf, he killed me." He's saying that to like the tentacled monster thing that is his mom, I guess. And the mom's like, "Oh, Beowulf, you say? Okay, interesting." Cut back to the hall, and like Beowulf has this like second in command guy. He's like been like I guess the wisest of the Geats.
Yeah.
Wiglaf, who's like very like Viking-esque. I guess they're all Viking-esque, but he's the most.
He looks pretty Viking-esque.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, we should probably leave now that we've done our thing." And Beowulf's like, "Yeah, I bet we're gonna leave. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, tomorrow
definitely.
for sure.
No
for
shot.
sure.
He's gonna stay because he wants to bang the queen. And maybe that'll happen for him.
Hey, I wish him luck.
I wish him luck. I always wish him luck. I always wish the adulterers luck.
Well, clearly the king's a bad guy.
Clearly. So yeah, Beowulf is like sleeping after like this like night of partying post Grendel death. And like he has a dream of Wealthgow like standing over him, Like, oh, you can be the king now that the king's dead.
Yes.
I guess.
Sleep with me.
Sleep with me. And he's like, oh, this is a dream. Because obviously this is a dream.
Yeah.
Your hair is floating around. You have like long. And
why are you in midair?
Yeah. This is advice for the listener. If like the lady that you're sweet for appears to
above you.
Yeah.
As an apparition.
Yeah, as an apparition. She's like kind of translucent. Her hair is floating around. Like she's kind of craning her fingers at you.
Yeah. I want you.
Don't buy it. Don't buy it for a second.
Buy it.
This is like it's a demon who wants, I guess, your seed.
It's basically a phishing scam.
It's a phishing scam. Yeah, yeah. She's catfishing
fishing for seed. Yeah.
But yeah, and because Beowulf, listener of the podcast, he knows not to fall for
Smart
that.
Smart
guy. He wakes up and like there are like dudes like hanging from the rafters. Like all of his men, the other Geats,
the
are
sad
all,
Geats.
Yeah, like hung from the rafters, dead. Yikes.
How did she manage that?
Yeah, I guess she like ran in and did that
one by one.
Yeah, Beowulf was sleeping,
stringing them up.
Yeah. But yeah, so Beowulf and Wiglaf are the only two survivors of the Geats. They're both pissed. They're like, okay, well, how many monsters do we have to kill here?
Yeah, like what's going? I thought we ended this guy.
Yeah,
I thought we ended his business.
The king goes, oh, there's just one more. And Beowulf's like, I don't believe you for a second.
Yeah.
We're going to like kill his like uncle, his brother, his
like, oh no,
dad.
it's just his mom. It's just his mom.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, what do you mean? Then who else? Who else do I have to
exactly.
kill? Where's the dad?
And the king goes, oh, well, his dad won't be harming anyone.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. And Beowulf's like, why'd you say it like that? But whatever, fine. At this point, Unferth is fully team Beowulf. He gives him his ancestral sword.
Hilarious.
Awesome.
Hilarious.
Yeah, his sword, Hrunting.
Hrunting. Good sword. Good sword name.
And yeah, Beowulf, he takes the sword and he pulls up the demon cave. And like, it's dark and he has like a torch, but the entire cave is like covered in water and stuff. And beforehand, like Wiglaf goes, and when they're at the mouth of the cave, oh, this woman is probably like a water demon.
You don't want to go in the water.
So probably, avoid the water. And Beowulf's like, oh, that's a good idea. And then just immediately goes in the water.
Waiting
in the water. The torch doesn't work anymore, so like, yeah, he's using this like horn that he got earlier. That was a part of the indecent proposal. And like, on the horn is like a dragon with like a ruby in its neck, and that's like the weak spot of the dragon.
That's where Hrothgar killed.
Yeah.
Farthing or whatever his name was.
A dragon, I guess.
Some northern dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. And like, yeah, maybe that's foreshadowing for later. But for now, it's just like kind of a glowy thing that he uses to get around the cave, and he gets to like this like wealth kind of hoard. Like a Smog-esque, like
a Smog-esque pile of gold and jewels.
Yeah. And he sees like Grendel just kind of laid out on a funeral pyre.
Damn.
Yeah. Fuck.
Guess we really got his ass.
Laser beam comes down, shoots off Grendel's head.
Why?
And Beowulf's asking the same question, like, what just happened?
What is happening here?
And who comes out of the water?
Who doth appear?
It's like golden form. But no, it's Angelina Jolie. She gets, revealed from the gold.
And we're not saying, like a character who Angelina Jolie voices.
Yeah,
it's
and we're also not really saying like a CGI like simplification of Angelina Jolie. Like, this is just Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
it looks like a photorealistic Angelina Jolie,
which is really funny because Beowulf, played by Ray Winstone, does not look like Ray Winstone.
He looks, Beowulf just looks like a animated version of just whatever you imagine Beowulf to look like.
Yeah, just a blonde, Ubermensch type figure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we all imagine. Whenever imagine just a cool guy, just a blonde man. But like, yeah, Angelina Jolie is just like, it looks like just a photo of Angelina
Which is
Jolie.
Really funny. Really
very,
funny.
very funny, very silly. And immediately when Angelina Jolie walks out of the water, she's like not wearing clothes. She's, the vital parts are covered by like whatever drops of gold or whatever.
Drops
water.
Of
Liquid water. We immediately know what's about to happen. What's about to transpire.
Will he resist temptation?
hey, maybe.
It's always a chance, right?
There's always a chance. So she immediately sets about this plan of like seducing him. I guess it's just the same trick she pulled on Hrothgar.
Yeah.
But Beowulf, he's a brave warrior, so it's gonna turn out differently this time.
Yeah, right. He knows what he has to do. He's gonna kill her. He's gonna leave.
Yeah. She hits him with classic deal. You took a son from me, Grendel. So you should give me a son.
Okay, reasonable.
Interesting.
When you put it like that, it seems reasonable.
So like he's like holding up the sword, like have at you, and she's like seductively stroking the sword.
Well, it seems like he couldn't have killed her even if he wanted to.
No, because she like melts down the sword immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they're talking for a while. He's like, oh, I won't give in to your temptations. And she's like, yeah, I mean, you will though.
Definitely will.
You definitely will. And she basically gives him the deal that like, if he lets her live, gives her a son, and leaves the horn like in her keeping, she will like allow him to just be safe and whatever, not attack him.
Yeah, she'll chill out
for as long as the horn is in her possession.
Okay.
Good deal.
Amazing deal.
Honestly, amazing deal.
You know what? I think that's a deal I'd take.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't take that deal. What? Like why are we killing Angelina Jolie at all? Like, it feels like
right. What did she actually do wrong?
I don't know.
Kill your men in response for you killing your son? I mean, that seems fair enough.
So, we cut to Beowulf busting back into the hall. He's like, "Oh, I've done it. I've killed
easy
the hag."
as pie.
So, he's talking to the king, and the king's like,
"It's like, so you killed her, huh?
You killed her."
He's
her? Like, yes, I killed the foul, evil sea witch hag bog creature.
Ugly as hell.
Ugly as hell. The king looks at him. He goes, "We both know she's Angelina Jolie, man.
Yeah,
she's not a hag.
Yeah.
We know
Let's
that.
be real.
We
Let's be
know
real.
that." And they're in like their private rooms, like they can just be honest with each other. And Beowulf, he's still like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about, you know."
How would I be here if I didn't kill her?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because you slept with her.
So the king, he's on to Beowulf. He knows exactly what happened here.
Yeah.
He walks back into the hall.
He hatches his plan so quickly.
Yeah. I guess because like he's just whatever. He walks into the hall. He goes, "Well, Beowulf, he's a proud, strong warrior. I have no sons. I leave upon my death, whenever that may be. I'll leave all of my things, my wife, my kingdom, everything I own. I'll give it all to Beowulf." And yeah, everyone's like, "All right, yeah, cool, sick.
Awesome.
Of
we
course,
like him.
You're not gonna die now,
No.
The king, he like frisbee tosses his crown to Beowulf.
He's already on the way out.
The king's like, he's walking out of the room. Unferth takes the crown from Beowulf. He goes, "Oh, all things in their time. Of course, you can't have the crown now. The king's still very much alive."
Yeah. You'll get it eventually.
The king just like jumps out of the window.
Yeah, he barely even walks through the door into the room. He's all right, and Beowulf gets it, catch, and then he's dead.
Swing, yeah.
And then he runs and he jumps out of the tower.
Yeah. So,
no king.
Beowulf's the king. Long live the king, baby.
So easy to become a king these days.
Yeah. And like as, Hrothgar falls into the water, like the glowy like magic effect that Angelina Jolie has like carries him off. So I guess he's going to go do that. Yeah,
he's good. He's going to a better afterlife than most.
That's pretty cool. Just having sex with a sea witch forever. Pretty cool. So, time skip happens now. And like Beowulf, he's standing on this like cliff watching a battle happen between his men and some other men.
Yeah.
The Finnish men. And they're finished. Because, Beowulf's men are just taking him out, destroying him.
Yeah. Pretty easy.
Very easy. He goes, it's not a battle, this is a slaughter. Like because of this, dumbass age we're in now, like this age of Christ, the age of heroes is done. And now it's just like all like, martyrs and there are no heroes anymore. Lame, stupid.
Sad.
He's, boomer ranting about the fallen age.
Where all the cool people have gone.
Yeah. Where have all the good men gone? Where are all the gods? Where's the streetwise Hercules to fight the rising odds? I need a hero, Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah.
And moving on from that. Just a good
In other
song.
news, it is a good song. And you know what? An apt
song
for this franchise as well as Shrek. I think it fits.
I agree.
Everywhere.
I think it should be in every single thing.
A timeless classic. Yeah.
There, I think it was like 2023 when like 4 movies came out that had that song in it, like the Mario movie and like
pretty
a
funny.
bunch of other stuff.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, which I guess whatever. Heroes might as well just like put that in.
Yeah, I mean,
like
you have a protagonist in your movie, probably a hero.
Yeah. But yeah, this one guy, he thinks he's a hero, one of the Finnish warriors. And he squares up to Beowulf. He's like, "Oh, you're a coward. You probably, if you wanted to kill me yourself,
Yeah.
And he's like being held down by like Beowulf's men, because he's like the last of the Finnish warriors. And Beowulf, he's like looking at the guy in disbelief. And Wilgar, like Wiglaf, yeah, Wiglaf, the like Viking guy who's like Beowulf's second command, goes, the king obviously can't fight his own battles. Let's just kill him ourselves, you guys. And Beowulf goes, I can't. What now? What are you saying? Let this guy out.
No, let's let him give him a chance.
Like immediately, this Finnish guy is like trying to. He has his axe. He's about to like strike a killing blow on Beowulf. And Beowulf, he drops all of his weapons. He hits him with Beowulf's special, which is like stripping down naked.
Rips open his tunic.
Here's
my beating heart.
And I guess just psychologically punks this guy out.
Yeah, it was so hard. It just could not handle.
Yeah, because he goes in this whole rant about like, do you really think you're the guy who's gonna like end the story of Beowulf? Like, it's not gonna be you. You're an extra. You're a nameless guy. You're an NPC.
I feel like that's really a high kind of a gamble monologue.
Yeah.
Because either the guy is like, "Oh, you're right," and he backs down, or he's like, "No, fuck you."
Yeah.
And
what
he
does
saying?
Saying?
Kill you.
It's like, I don't know if insulting the guy is gonna be the move.
Yeah.
But,
Right. Just belittle him.
Because self-defense lesson here. If a guy is like, holding an axe, about to like strike down on your head, what you want to do is like belittle him, make him feel like a little man.
Yeah, right.
You can never actually
kill me.
He
couldn't kill you.
You couldn't kill me even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably be safe.
Yeah, it's probably fine.
Because that's what happens for Beowulf. The Finnish guy, like he cowers into like a fetal ball, and then Beowulf's like, "Oh, let him live. He has a story to tell about the King Beowulf."
Yep.
So I guess he's cool. He's still cool. He's still doing cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he made it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he really wanted.
And Beowulf may not be, doing some amazing stuff. He has, I guess, fully gone Team Hrothgar, and he's now, I guess, not cheating on his wife.
Well, I feel like it's one of those things where, like, I assume the queen is like too old to give him sons or something, and he needs a younger wife.
Well, it seems like he's not even doing it for procreation. Like, I think he's just, which is a sin, by the way.
Which is a sin.
Having sex for not procreation, sin.
In this new Christian nation, doesn't fly.
Because like, there's a bunch of like crosses everywhere, like churches. They've been Christianified, but he's still, I guess, sleeping out of wedlock. Which, I mean, whatever, doesn't matter.
It's cool.
It's cool.
We endorse that.
What we don't endorse is that there's this like guy who unearths like
his slave.
His slave Cain. Which interesting name for a slave, Cain. Like very, very biblical. I guess because that's what Unferth's about.
Right, he likes Christian deal.
Whatever. And like, he was looking around and he found the horn.
Dude, this fucking guy.
Bad.
Don't take the horn.
Don't take the magic glowing horn.
Guess he doesn't know about the deal.
Yeah, because Beowulf, the story that he told was that like he knew that Grendel's mom wanted the horn, so he like threw it into a swamp.
Yeah.
So she couldn't have it. And then Cain comes across and he's like, "Oh, we found it. Beowulf will be so happy about this."
He's gonna love this one, guys.
Brings the horn back to Beowulf. He's like, "Where the fuck did you find this?
God damn it, you!" I mean,
oh, that's amazing. That's
great.
Cool.
Cain.
That's awesome.
Just great.
So Beowulf knows the deal is broken. Bad stuff's about to happen.
It's about to go down.
Yeah. So he's like freaking out. He has a dream where like he's back in the cave and like this disembodied voice is talking to him, and the voice is like, "Oh, you're a loser, you're dumb, you're a bitch, and you're my dad." What?
Couldn't be.
Beowulf's freaking out. And like the lady Ursula that he's sleeping with now instead of Wealthgow, like she's in the bed and she's like, oh, he's wigging.
He's freaking out, man.
He's frigging out.
Seeing some shit.
And she goes out and like takes a walk, runs into Wealthgow, the wife.
The other woman.
A heart to heart.
The other woman.
The other woman. I don't know what song you're singing, but
it's Nina Simone's The Other Woman.
Oh, I know that song. But yeah, so as they're having a heart to heart, this like dragon pulls up and starts like setting fire to everything.
Pretty unchill.
Pretty unchill. Hot actually.
Yeah.
'Cause fire.
Warm.
Warm. And you know, the Christian guy on Firth is just like chilling in the church.
Oh,
Things have finally worked out for him. But then dragon burns everything down, and the dragon like turns into a man, and then like starts talking to Unferth. We cut away. Unferth is being like dragged back. He's like burnt and stuff.
Yeah, this guy cannot catch a break.
Yeah, no, seriously. And like the dragon left a message with Unferth to like basically be like, oh, this is all Beowulf's fault. He broke the treaty of like the horn. Sins of the father.
Sins of the father.
Sins of the father.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Maybe.
So yeah, like Beowulf, he knows what that means.
Yeah, he knows.
So he starts suiting up, which is a crazy thing for Beowulf to do because he knows he's going to take off the armor at some point.
Yeah, right. He never fights.
He never fights. Yeah, he only fights in the nude. And Wealthgow goes, like as Beowulf is suiting up, like, oh, we should just let some young hero save us from this dragon. And Beowulf goes, what, and start this whole thing over again?
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, he knows.
Yeah.
If, like, some other guy were to, like, kill the dragon, then eventually he'd end up going back to the cave and eventually
So, yeah.
whole thing started
He'd
again.
have to make that guy king.
Yeah, and jump off the bridge or whatever. So, yeah, Beowulf has resigned himself to just...
It's time to fight.
Yeah, time to fight. Time to kill my son.
Rising up. Yeah, he's not gonna... I don't know. He's old now.
He's old now. So, yeah, Wiglaf and Beowulf go back to the cave, and they have, like, a funny conversation they had earlier in the movie where it's like, Wiglaf is like, oh, do you want me to go in there with you, help you out? Beowulf goes, no, just chill. And Wiglaf goes, good. Because he doesn't want to go in.
Yeah.
Funny.
Good bit.
And Beowulf was like about to tell him like the truth about this whole situation. And Wiglaf's like, I don't want to hear it. Please don't tell me.
Yeah.
Which I guess fair.
Yeah, I mean real. You want to have a good image of your friend.
Yeah. Dragon fight. He's fighting the dragon.
That's
it's like
cool.
a whole thing where he's like, yeah, he's, throws like a hatchet at the dragon, like attaches himself to the scales.
Yeah, riding on.
Gets flung around. Yeah, it's a whole.
Now, what's funny is that this whole dragon fight sequence was initially like much shorter and was mostly like talking.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
But apparently, when this movie got its budget increase, it was like, yeah, go crazy.
Yeah.
Let's make it a 20-minute fight spanning the entire world.
Yeah, because it takes a while, this fight. And all I wrote down here was dragon fight.
Yeah. That is mostly what happens.
Yeah, and like it is like a dynamic thing. Like cameras moving around a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like different set pieces.
They're changing settings.
But it is mostly just like a guy fighting a dragon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You've seen one, you've seen them all.
Yeah. Which I mean is interesting that like we start like chronologically with Die Nibelungen, guy fighting dragon.
Yeah.
Little like pitiful iguana dragon.
Yeah, sad
And
dragon.
Now we're at this where it's like this big like CGI action set piece. But it's like I think maybe just like the way that action scenes work, like the information that's being transferred is the same in both scenes, kind of. Oh, a guy is fighting a dragon.
Yeah.
And like we've advanced so much technologically, but like
but the spectacle of it all.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I guess the spectacle
People,
of it all.
they love the spectacle.
But like, I mean, in 1912, like whenever Die Nibelungen came out, like people were still like the spectacle was still being felt.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very like subjective.
Yeah.
Whole, like thing around spectacle. But like, yeah, I guess this fight is different in that like Siegfried has no relationship with the dragon, but this dragon's like Beowulf's son.
As if that'll stop him.
Yeah, right. Like
He
he remembers from earlier that like the dragons have the weak spot under the neck, and like the dragon is trying to like fireball kill like Wealthgow and Ursula, and Beowulf won't be having that.
No, won't stand for it.
He like reaches in, and like the weak spot. Like it takes a few tries. Like he ends up like dislocating his arms. Like get a closer.
He's trying
shot
to grab
in there.
just the beating heart.
Yeah, and he like Mortal Kombat style like rips the heart out of the dragon.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. And they fall to their deaths together.
Sad.
And like, is this the point where like Beowulf is like laying on the sand, and is that when he tells Wiglaf that like he's gonna inherit the kingdom? Or, like,
I think he tells him right before he goes in the cave.
Yeah, which is
like,
funny because
whatever
like,
happens to me, I'm giving you the kingdom.
in both times he would have said that like only Wiglaf is around.
Yeah, right.
So it's like,
hey guys, you made me king. Isn't that crazy?
I don't know about that. if I'm one of the like Danish people, it's like.
But then again, it's like I don't know.
Who else?
Who else are we gonna get?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
This guy had no sons, sonless.
Yeah, like, and I don't remember because Wiglaf like ends up running up the stairs to like help in this fight scene. But what does he end up? Yeah, he saves
Well,
Ursula.
I guess he kind of saves them.
Does he?
Then he runs back downstairs immediately.
Yeah.
To go check on
I guess
Beowulf.
like they wanted Wiglaf involved in this fight scene for reasons that I'll say later, like because the poem originally. But like they kind of have to contrive a reason for him to be involved that like doesn't super make sense.
Throughout the whole fight, he's just like riding back to the castle.
Yeah.
Just like miles behind.
Yeah, and Wiglaf's character will become like a focal point for like the kinds of differences between this movie and the poem, which is interesting. But yeah, like they're having this whole like Viking funeral, and like I guess by Viking funeral you imagine they're gonna like whatever shoot flaming arrows.
The ship, yeah.
Don't
have to.
Don't have to because the ship with like Beowulf and all of his possessions is going off, and like I guess it goes into like a volcano
like
or
lava
something.
Spout
A lava
or something.
spout. Yeah, it's not really a volcano. It's like lava
just
just falling. Yeah, it's a trickle of
trickle.
lava. And yeah, his ship gets burnt. He's going.
Sad.
Yeah.
Better luck in Valhalla, my friend.
Better luck in Valhalla, or is that where he's going? Who knows?
Psych. He's going to Waterworld, baby.
Wealthgau says his song will be sung forever because of the poem. And that's like kind of a theme throughout this. Everyone wants like glory and like immortality, like Troy, which I guess is like a funny meta bit to do whenever you're adapting an epic poem. But yeah, like as the boat is sinking into the water, like Wiglaf is watching, and I guess at this point everyone else is left.
Yeah, everyone leaves. Nobody sees this part.
So there's only Wiglaf on the beach. He's watching the boat go into the water, and like he sees Angelina Jolie like peek up, like start like making out with dead Beowulf, and like as the ship goes down, she like looks up at Wiglaf, sees him watching, and then like Wiglaf is holding the horn.
Yeah, and he's standing like 3 feet in the water.
Mm-hmm. So like Angelina Jolie like looks at him, and like they have this like moment like looking at each other.
Hits him with
hits him with a come hither. Yeah,
a little come hither.
How do you describe hands like?
Yeah, there's definitely a name for the hand
motioning. Yeah, curling the hand. Yeah,
curling the hand.
She's hand curling at him.
You curl your hand at me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and we cut there. Like it's like a freeze frame. It's like, oh, is Wiglaf gonna fuck Angelina Jolie? What's gonna happen? I do like how much of this story revolves around like if you're a guy in like 6th century England or like wherever, you couldn't even conceive of like someone who looks like Angelina Jolie. So like if you see that, it's like
that is a funny bit about the second half of the movie. It's just like Beowulf's life has just gone downhill because like nothing could compare to that moment.
Yeah, and like at one point, I think Wealthgau even like asks him like, was it worth it?
He was like, yeah. He's like, was she really that beautiful? He's like, yeah.
Like he doesn't respond, but it is like, yeah, she was, which is funny. But I guess the movie's over.
That's it.
So yeah, we can talk about like the production of it and also like the poem and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have stuff to
well, this is a Neil Gaiman production.
Of course. Of course.
It's pretty funny because it seems like the perception of the original poem amongst the production staff was like somewhat negative,
which is silly.
There's a funny from Wikipedia, of course, take it with a grain of salt as always. But Robert Zemeckis was like talking about the poem, said he didn't like the poem, but enjoyed reading the screenplay that Neil Gaiman wrote.
Yeah.
Which was really funny. And it seems like they just didn't think that there was enough happening with the characters. Like, there's another quote they're talking about it. They're like, yeah, the poem, read the poem, whatever. It's just like a litany of like monster battles. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, that is something to talk about. Because like, in the movie, there's the whole thing of like people like having sex with like Grendel's mom and like creating like monsters and stuff like that. In the poem, that's like not a thing at all. Like, the monsters are explained as like being descendants of like Cain.
Of Cain,
which is like a whole like Christian,
the whole biblical
thing.
ass thing.
Right. And like, I think that plot beat explains both like the different approach to religion and also like the different approach to just like relationships between characters in this movie versus the poem. Because like, in this you kind of don't really have the whole like Christian element of the story, so like you need some kind of explanation like where these monsters are coming from.
Well, I think it was supposed to make like they said something about how they wanted the characters to be more dynamic and have like flaws and stuff.
Yeah, I think at some point Beowulf says like, oh, like men are the real monsters, like something to that effect.
So I think I guess I can kind of like see why they do that. Like, oh, like what if Grendel was Hrothgar's son, his bastard son?
Yeah,
it's like okay. I mean,
it's interesting. And like,
well, they also said that they thought it was weird that Grendel didn't attack or didn't kill Hrothgar.
Yeah.
In the poem.
I mean, it is. Yeah.
So they were like, well, maybe they didn't say it, but he really was his son.
Yeah, and that is kind of the Hercules-ness of this movie. Hercules the Rock movie.
Yeah, we always are referring back to the Hercules 2014.
Yeah, it did leave like a psychic imprint on us. But yeah, at one point, like in the King, like second half of this movie when Beowulf's the king, like, people were performing like the story of Beowulf, and it's supposed to be like the poem. It's just like kind of sensationalized version of what happened. So it's like, oh, is this the real version or is this like the legend? It's the whole thing.
Yeah. You know the deal. I prefer the real story.
I prefer the real story. Believe in yourself and you'll be a god.
Or whatever that guy was saying.
And I think this movie does have more substance to it. It would be hard to have less substance than the Rock Hercules movie.
Yeah.
But it's like a similar vibe of like, kind of like, oh, we're questioning myth,
Yeah.
Which is like a thing that Neil Gaiman likes to do. Like, that's the whole crux around like American gods and all that.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Funny.
Yeah, it's his jam.
It's his jam. But I do feel like something kind of gets lost a little bit in that, because like a whole thing around Beowulf, like the poem, is kind of explaining like the decline of like culture generally that like results like that went from the epics of like Siegfried and like the dragon slayers, and then transformed into like the drudgery of like Anglo-Saxon life. And I think that's like, I don't know, an interesting topic for a story, but you don't really get that in this. Like, because Wiglaf's character in the poem, he's not this like whatever like Viking dude who's like around for the whole time. He's like a younger character who gets introduced in the second half of the story, and is supposed to like kind of represent the same kind of heroism as like younger Beowulf, because like when Beowulf's fighting the dragon, who is not his wedlock son,
yeah, right,
just a dragon,
not his bastard son.
When Beowulf's fighting the dragon, like no one else is gonna like help him because like the bond of kinship is done. But like Wiglaf's the only one who steps up, and he like represents that same kind of like heroism and like overcoming like fear of death.
Yeah.
For like higher ideals. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think like if you're adapting this that you have to keep very close to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I even kind of like the idea of like, well, maybe like Beowulf doesn't have to be the main character,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think the answer is to be like, well, maybe we should make Grendel the main character instead. Like maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where I'd go because
Well,
I just feel like
part of
you
the story
have
that
to.
hasn't been told yet.
You have to get outside of the story.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
So even if there are like elements that you can like twist or contort in some way to make it more interesting I go, what does Angelina Jolie's character say about this narrative?
Yeah.
You know, she's just looking for love, and these men, you know, they come in, they sire a child, and they leave.
Dude, in like 2 years, someone's gonna write like a Cersei-esque, Grendel's mom. She doesn't even have a name, by the way. She's just
monster,
like, the hag. Yeah,
the evil monster.
Grendel's
hag.
mom.
Yeah, Grendel's mother. She is credited as Grendel's mother.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no name. No name for the water demon. But yeah, I feel like, because then you can tell a more complex narrative about culture generally, and like how people in society interact with the narrative as a narrative, and not just like, well, we're gonna give you the POV of like Beowulf as he's like jumping on Grendel's back and he's ripping off his arm and he's you know, shoving it up his ass, and it's like it's gonna look so cool. Like, I feel like your philosophy making the movie could be different than it was in this case, and you could still have a really good, compelling story. I don't think it has to be like, oh, it's gonna be insane, like all these action set pieces.
Yeah.
The character's gonna be so deep and flawed because they want to have sex with a demon. Like,
yeah, and like, I don't know. It is interesting that like everyone on this crew just did not appreciate the poem.
Right. They didn't get it.
Because like I've done whatever, like very minimal like reading of like Middle English, early modern English like writings. People don't really have like super high regard for like Old English poetry, like specifically Beowulf also, because it's like the kind of
it's the
high mark
prototypical
of,
old story.
Prototypical old story. Like there are a lot of writings like from the time of like early modern English. Like this is like around the time of like, you know, Shakespeare, Milton, of like, or before that, but you know what I mean. Like
yeah, you know what it is.
Of people like writing these like essays and like articles about like how the fuck are we gonna fix English to make it not like Beowulf and that shit anymore.
We don't want that. We don't want
how
that
are we
at
gonna
all.
become like the French, you know? Like, and I think that like there's a reason you don't really start seeing like a lot of like critical regard, at least in like popular culture, toward Beowulf until you get to like people like who are trying to like, I guess, get back to like this thing of, like archaism, and like returning to the past. You know, like a lot of people in the time that around when Beowulf, I guess, would have been more linguistically relevant, weren't really like fucking with Beowulf on that level. Which is interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Well, and it's funny that you bring up Shakespeare as well, because the original plan for this movie, Beowulf 2007, was to do a shoot on a low budget.
Yeah.
Couple locations in Europe, like pretty modest in terms of the setting. And one of the influences that Roger Avery and Neil Gaiman's original, like their plan writing this, was to make it similar to Roman Polanski's Macbeth, 1971 Macbeth, which is like an amazing film, like the most famous adaptation of Macbeth on film. That's really good. And it is like much more minimalist in terms of how the story is told in the setting, because it's shot on a much lower budget. But when they got all this money, they were like, oh no, now it's just going to be like an insane like action flick.
Yeah. Which, like, I don't know. I feel like you lose something there.
Yeah.
A little bit. Of course, it makes it relevant for us to talk about on this podcast. But
I mean, that's how, you know, we love to do it.
Well, because like you'll read like Beowulf and like you'll, you know, get into like the actions, stuff like that, like these like crazy wild proclamations that Beowulf is like making, and it does like kind of feel like something you read in like a Robert E. Howard story or like any of like the derivatives like movies that came out after that. And like I think that there is something like inherently sword and sorcery-esque to this, because it is like it's heroic fantasy, like it is that. So like I wonder, even in an adaptation that didn't have like the crazy action and stuff like that, would it still be sword and sorcery? I think so. I think
Yeah, I think it probably would be. And, you know, a movie we didn't end up talking about that I think does a lot of the things this movie does in terms of the characterization of Beowulf. A movie that does that better is The Green Knight. The new Green Knight.
Okay.
The A24 Green Knight. Because I feel like Gawain is kind of a similar character to Beowulf in terms of English literature. Like, you know, he's a good guy. Like, he wants to do the right thing. But he also lies sometimes. Like he has these flaws. And I was just thinking a lot watching the way this movie transitions from young Beowulf to old Beowulf ruling the kingdom. There's a scene in the A24 Green Knight movie.
At the very end.
Yeah, much like that. At the end, right before he dies, he sees his life as a king and how things would have gone for him had he not owned up to the shit.
And his kingdom's just getting ruined.
And it's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting because, like, a whole thing, I guess a way in which, like, a story like Green Knight is different from a story like Beowulf is, like, a whole theme of Beowulf's whole, like, deal is that, like, it's better to act than to grieve, which is, like, you know, old English stoicism, I guess. Whereas, like, I think Gawain is much more characterized by, like, a kind of, like, internal emotion in a way that, like, romantic stories like the Green Knight were much more receptive to than, like, epics like Beowulf. But yeah, I mean, in, like, essence, they are, like, similar like kinds of heroes.
Well, and it seems like the tendency now is to change Beowulf into a character more like Gawain.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, I definitely agree with you. I think in the original, it's like you kind of lose a lot of that when you're reading it as an epic versus, like, a heroic story of, like, one guy and his quest to be glorified in history and, like, be honorable and heroic, but he's also, like, has some sort of intense flaws and personal comeuppance and sleeping with somebody's wife.
Yeah. And it is funny because we talk about like making Beowulf like Gawain. The sleeping with the wife bit is not in the poem at all. Yeah, that's a Gawain thing.
That is a Gawain thing.
It's entirely a Gawain thing.
It's Gawain style.
They added that in the movie out of nowhere, which I guess fair. I don't know. Real. Hey, I'd do it too. But yeah, I don't know. It is interesting the changes that get made to a thing in adaptation. I feel like that'll always say something about, like, the mindset of the people adapting towards the thing that they are creating. Like, Neil Gaiman, I don't love. I'll say this. I'll be honest. I don't love Neil Gaiman.
Hey, we're at the point of the podcast. Some people have dropped off. They're not listening anymore.
So I can say my opinions.
So we can get real now.
Yeah, I don't know. He has, like, a mentality towards storytelling where he's like, oh, hey, bruv, I'm a storyteller, you know? I don't know.
Is that your Neil Gaiman impression? Is that your best Neil Gaiman?
Just a roadie. No, a roadman. I don't know. I don't know what Neil Gaiman sounds like. He's British.
Yeah, right.
That's my British guy.
He must sound something like that.
Yeah, he
they all
must sound like
the same.
The guy from Kingsman. Eggsy. But, like, he has a mentality towards storytelling where, like, he doesn't think, or at least he prioritizes, like, just, hey, pure storytelling over, like, the kinds of context behind the things he's adapting. Like, he does a lot of his stuff, like, deals with, like, mythology and, like, culture and stuff like that. But, like, not really a lot of introspection on, like, the things that create culture, things that create mythology. It's all just kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Let's make a story out of that, you know?
Yeah.
Which, like, is fine. But, like, I think that the topic of culture and mythology kind of requires deeper introspection into, like, the anthropological basis of these things than sometimes he's willing to put in. But, like, I don't know. That's just his work. I don't know what he's like as a person.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, like, difficult to tell sometimes, right? Yeah. What is someone's, like, it's just the way they like to write and, like, the kind of stories they like to tell versus what they actually think. But I do agree. They're not really my favorite kinds of stories to read or listen to or see on the big screen.
Or see or hear about or anything.
Get anywhere near, really.
And, I think that mentality does kind of come across with this story because, like, I don't know, it just does feel as though, like, we're putting the kinds of demands of, like, modern storytelling over, like, the realities of the story that we're adapting, which, I don't know, feels like a poor adaptation in some senses.
I mean, maybe the idea is that there have already been, like, so many Beowulf movies, so many, like, failed projects that are, like, more faithful.
That's true.
Or more genuine to what the story was, that it's like, oh, we're just gonna go crazy.
Yeah, I can see that. And I don't think that I like this movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. Yeah. But I do feel like there was, like, potential just kind of left on the table a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I think it's hard. You're making an animated movie in general. Like, people get kind of swept up in the capacities that animation allows for. So it's like, oh, we can show all this crazy stuff and we can do all these cool things. So then you're really obsessing over like the shots you're getting and how you're going to design and choreograph the action sequences.
Yeah.
And it's harder to kind of like focus on those elements that you would naturally be confined to in like a live action film where your actors can't fly across the screen or something.
The camera can't like zoom in. Someone's like eyeball zoom out.
You know, just stick their hand into the dragon's neck and grab its heart out.
Yeah, they thought so much about what they could do. They didn't think about what they should.
should.
Yeah, Jurassic Park.
So
Quote
quoting,
Jurassic Park. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I do feel as though there is still potential for like a good Northman or a good Beowulf. I guess that would be Northman.
That's the problem. It's just Northman.
It's just Northman. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, that Northman. Hey, watch that one if you haven't. Watch
Go listen to that episode.
Yeah. And maybe you can listen to another episode next week.
It's coming in hot.
When we'll be talking about
something good and yummy and new and
just tasty, beautiful, awesome. So maybe we've been lost in the sauce a bit.
Well, we've been exploring. We've been exploring the boundaries.
Experimenting. That's what you do.
That's
what you do in any kind of academic field. You got to experiment.
Yeah, you got to range free, but you always come home to one series. It's Ator.
It's Ator, baby. It's a toll. It's a tourney.
It's a very safe pick.
It's a safe pick. We're doing Ator 3.
Quest for the Mighty Sword.
Awesome.
1990. We've cracked the 90s.
Yeah, we have, baby.
Yeah, we have. We're getting in there. We're getting right into the 90s.
The 90s.
Do we want to? I mean, I don't even know if we want to spoil what makes this movie so great.
We've said it so many times, but let's just let's leave it for next week.
Yeah, let's leave it for next week. Hey, watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if you can find it on anywhere else. MGM Plus.
But no one has an MGM Plus.
Amazon Prime probably has it.
Yeah, probably. That's actually definitely true.
Yeah. Philo. Once again, if you have that.
If you have Philo.
I don't know
but we don't support anything we don't know, and we definitely don't support Amazon Prime.
That's right. That's right.
So we're YouTube guys.
Yeah, we're YouTube men now.
YouTube men.
We love watching movies in 20 frames a second, 160p.
The worst subtitles you've ever seen.
Yeah. Subtitles will always be different for the character's name. Ator, Atin, Atin.
Eaton.
And we'll be eating good next week. Tell you that
Hell
much.
Fucking yeah. We'll be eating good.
Eating good.
And you'll see us at Sorta Sorcery next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.